and that group that went to Toronto, I honestly thought that it was from that group that the touring team would come. We went from it. I was wrong, but that's why, as I say, when the touring team was picked back up, not quite the people I expected.
But you know, it's interesting because we all have, I think, mental images of each other on the field. And Marianne, I always remember when she had the ball coming out, you sprung into action.
Right.
Yeah. You know, you didn't have to hesitate. Wait, what's going to happen? Where do we need to go? It's like, okay, we're going. We're on attack and we're going. Yeah. And you just started to move and make your cuts and all that.
I can just remember it's sort of like a charge in a way.
Oh, she did charge.
You lifted your legs up high and you were coming out. You leaned forward, not like a wreck like you. You leaned forward and you were like coming. You were just like a choo-choo train coming out.
Every cut. That's the thing. If someone comes out like that, then everybody else moves. If you come out the naughty-dotty-da, and they know you're going to run.
The entire offense got ready for what we knew was coming. And you start, you know, planning your 5 moves ahead and where you're going to end up because you knew the ball was coming out and it was going to go here or there, and then, you know. So no question, when you came charging in.
And Mike, the first thing I have to say is heart and determination and absolutely assuring us that we did have the will to win. And then she would take, and again, you get the ball coming down the middle and everybody goes, you two are somewhat similar in the way you
Well, she actually was my mentor in college.
I
started playing my sophomore year, and I decided, well, since I'm a center forward in hockey, I'll be a center. But Mike's the one who taught me how to be a center. Don't you remember? You remember you taught me how to turn my stick for the draw and always win it.
That's why we knew we were cover
She was 2 years ahead of me. She was a senior and I was a sophomore.
But Mike's speed in the middle, and she, again, it was this triggering off, and I'm sure the attack that played, you know, in front of her, she came, and everybody reacted.
Yep. And also, she would make these raids.
Reaction to Mike, both on the field and off the field, plus.
What was the quote that we have the wherewithal to win, but so do they. But we are going to win because we are determined that we shall.
Yes.
Right. Well, also, Mary Bodo interviewed me, and at the end of the article, I said something like, "I don't mind the pressure. We can do it." I thought, oh my God! Thanks for making me. And I thought, oh man, and that's when we're at the East game, and Kathy's on the sidelines. I look over, it's kind of like, oh dear, I don't know if you were in shock or whatever. Then she yells, "Remember Mary Bodo!"
And it was 3-0 East, and then it was 4-3 US. Just like that. Boom, boom.
So it's right? Yeah, but you would charge. You were a charger with you when you started out too.
Yeah.
And your legs were like, you know, talking about running.
Yeah, very
just
Yeah, but-
charging.
But what Mike would do well though is, you know, I'd call them raids. She wasn't going down all the time, but every now and then in a critical moment in the game, she'd get the ball and you go, she's going, and down she'd go straight down the middle, and you just stepped aside and said, okay, goal.
X number of raids.
You know, and because it was the element of surprise and they'd be left in the dust.
But you also have to mention the lip gloss too.
She's got it, I see.
Oh, thank goodness.
Janet, we could not have done without her experience and her determination that she was not going to come home from a tour with any L's. They were all going to be W's. And if you'd seen her play against England, the last like 3 minutes of the game, she intercepted the ball. She was playing third man, intercepted the ball twice, and it was just, I could just see it. And I've said this, quoted it before, over my dead body. You're going to win. You are not going to win this game. And in that game, she and I had been in cahoots before the game started because we went out, I think we must have been staying together. I think so. We went out and looked at the field, and we discovered that one end of the field was shorter than the other end. This is the Big England game, you know.
That was a short field.
And-
Ugh, I hated that field.
Yeah, one end was noticeably shorter. So we won the toss and chose to attack in the large, the end that was the normal size, because our attack was known for starting very quickly and getting off the mark. And I think if they get compressed into a space that they're not yet used to, and we get, don't get that fast start, it's not a good idea. So we will start at the regular end and get started. Now, I didn't tell, only Janet and I knew that there was a difference in the field, because we didn't want to psychologically get anybody upset that they were working in a small area.
That was very wise.
And as it proved out, I mean, I don't know whether it was that or not, but we did a lot better in the bigger end than the shorter end. But we weren't good at that.
I need space to move and cut.
Jazz experience and, absolutely will to change things was extraordinary.
She had to do twice the amount of work because her legs are so small. We did too.
I didn't do her ego any good. She was like her granny.
No, I think she might have to.
No, I think
know
so
Great
too.
Britain because
A term of endearment.
Yeah, 33, right?
Yeah, right.
31.
31.
And I went out and I scored the first time I scored for
Did you see this?
Train ride to Scotland.
It was only because I was emotionally traumatized before the game, and if she hadn't seen it, it kind of did a different bar back there.
I'm going to talk to Claudia first.
Oh, I thought we didn't.
Because they would have marked her right out. They would
Claudia
have marked her right out. And they did a couple things they,
we could be
Which was
flexible
fine
in
because then I created
defense
more opportunities.
because she was
Kind of be cutting,
so
it created space for us to
level, balanced, level-headed. It was not ups and downs. It's not ups and downs with Claudia. It's this is
Mark Watson's top speed.
top speed. It was, I mean, just this is what the job is to be done. I'm doing it. Here we are. And I can, if you want me to do it there, or you want me to do it here, or whatever, I will do it. And that's what you did. Because we, this is such absolutely, especially with all broken knees over there.
I would say she's always on
Broken knees.
Always even keel.
Old
I
Indian
mean, there
dame.
were certain, the hardest thing that they had to cope with was the three people that had. Everybody played a lot of matches, but there was sort of be honest, there was a sort of a first team for the big ones. But every match that meant that there were three people on the bench, so to speak. And that was the hardest thing that they had to that was the thing they coped with least well to start off with. And then I said, this is not working. This is not a good idea. So I said, okay. And then so when I'd name the team the night before, whatever, I'd say, okay, the three most important people, those who will support me on the sideline are da-da-dee-da-dee-da-dee-da. And I really meant that, because if you're trying to coach or manage or whatever you want to call it, and you've got this going on the sideline, that's not good. So those people became, to me, statisticians and the really important people. Because they were, in a way, dictating the way we felt about what we were the game. So those were the three most important people, and then the 12 people who played. But those three important people were always ready to go. Whenever they played in matches, say territorial matches as opposed to international matches, they played outstanding, obviously, because the team did not drop off at all, at any time. There was no time when the subs came in that anything dropped off.
That's the first time I've ever heard you say sub.
Oh.
Say what?
And I lost my thought.
But I
the
think
rule about substitution.
Yeah,
there
that's
was,
what I
you
was.
couldn't send subs in, so
Yeah, it was no
it was
sub.
as if you could take a match, say, versus the north of England, and you put out a team which doesn't necessarily have your very strongest people in it, and if it's not working well, you can't insert those people, at halftime, say, well, we got to have more goals scored. So, and Lee wasn't playing in that match, so let's put Lee. I mean, I don't know, but let's put Lee in there because they won't know what to do with left hand and blah 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 blah. I mean, those people that went in at the beginning were responsible for coming out with a W at the end. And they weren't going to get let off the hook.
And not only that,
And-
she couldn't call a timeout to say, fix this. This is what, 25 minutes of straight play. No timeout, no subs.
She couldn't sub at all?
No subs.
No.
During the entire game?
No timeouts.
No.
So if they were
Injury
out.
only.
And no timeout.
No
No
timeout.
timeouts, no
Okay.
subs. Subs only for injury.
Okay.
That was it.
There's
So-
a halftime?
There was a
There
half.
wasn't
They did give us that.
So we could get to the short.
We need to adjourn over to there and eat, but we can still go on talking.
But you should talk about Janie and Beth.
And Janie and Beth.
Okay, Beth, I will say, was the anchor of our attack. Beth Allen, left attack, the absolute anchor of our attack. For some reason, I came up with this idea that I wanted everybody to play be able to play at least 2 positions, so that we were never stuck. We had, and again, I'll go back to Lee. She had to play. She was supposed to be our first home, but their #1 defense, Allison Saunders, was their point. Now, it's not that Lee couldn't play against Allison, but there was a chemistry that was not great between Allison Saunders.
My lip and my ass.
So no, we're ready for this. Lee doesn't have to play again. I'll just move Lee to another place on the attack, and Barb will play first home or whatever. Barb would have cracked. Lee is sort of a little bit. Barb would have just cracked her hand. Remember the grandma story? So
Yeah,
Beth
don't mess
was
with
this
me.
anchor on the left side, and then all the first, second, third home and right attack rotated, played it very much, very, very fluid game. But the game never got out of control or lost its spatial thing because Beth held that left attack side all the time. I think she's the only person on the team who only played one position
Yeah.
the whole time.
She could go down and catch that ball full speed over her shoulder.
At her shoelaces.
Yeah,
She
and
didn't
there,
know that.
take it
I
in
love throwing
and
to
score.
Beth.
And score. Yeah.
We had a
She asked for
special
that
bond.
ball in odd places.
We
Yeah, she
love
sure
that.
stick
We
down.
love that, man.
And our other person, team member who's not here is Jamie Diamond Barbieri, and she is the most beautiful. She plays sort of like a gazelle. She just sort of moves.
Gazelle is a
Gazelle. She just,
her bionic legs.
yeah. She
Fast.
can just move down the field. It seems effortless, but you see she's passing everybody by. Beautiful stick work, very, very, just very, very efficient. And again, someone who would come in and we never missed a beat.
And just before we break, the fact that there was no substitution, that part of the point of what we accomplished and the difference between our era, perhaps, and now, is that therefore it had to be a player's game. There's the coaching strategy. If you don't know it coming in when you start the game, there's nothing Kathy can do except yell at you from the sidelines, and who can hear that? So once her job then was to make sure that we were prepared enough for it, and then it's our job collectively to make sure that it gets done. So that's
a really good
big
point.
difference between the
That is-
influence that a coach
that's
can
huge,
have now
actually.
during the game.
I hadn't thought about that.
Not nearly so much.
They had, my job was not at the game or during the game. It was the coaching, it was allowing everybody to have the tools to be the best that they could possibly be. And then they took those tools onto the field and assessed the situation, assessed their opponents, but we didn't spend a lot of time assessing opponents because we thought it was easier to get on the field and score as quickly as possible. Let them worry about the assessing.
Let them assess us.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, I'm
And after
curious.
goals, there wasn't all that chit-chat amongst each other on
No.
the field to
No.
straighten things out. We did,
Or all
okay,
the glad handing.
yeah.
Kat, I'm curious. Does anybody remember, what did you say at halftime at the England game? What did you say to us?
Well, I like what I put in that picture. Oh God, these English are ticking me off. What's the last version of the Hallelujah chorus? Is that what you said?
Did you?
They're ticking me off. I remember that part.
Did she?
That's written underneath the caption.
In the brochure, the captain.
Does anybody else remember what else Kathy said to us?
Yeah. In fact, I think it might even be.